When it comes to being a Call of Duty fan, it's fair to say we've been run through the mill a little bit in the last sort of 3 or 4 years. Um, to say that the franchise went right down the shitter would be an understatement, and we've had some poor choices and poor games from the powers that be at Activision, haven't we? Some of them haven't been the best. So this got me thinking. But what is truly the worst Call of Duty game? Because for me, and I imagine for quite a few people, there are three. There are three that you can consider in this. And I thought we'd do a video and we'd discuss them. Why they were bad? Was there anything good about them? And ultimately, what is the worst Call of Duty game ever? It's not World War 2. You're just seeing gameplay in the background for now. It's not World War 2. It's really not that bad. People hate on it. I don't understand why. And just to say, this also kind of I didn't really consider the Call of Duty before COD 4. They all seemed relatively good for what they are, and what they were at the time of release. So I think it's hard to consider them nowadays. Not to mention, most of you haven't played them, I don't imagine. So what is the point in bringing them up? And I also, this is to make it clear, not personally going to play any of them because it's not worth my time, to be honest. They're all poor at best. I don't even have some of them anymore, which is an issue. And second of all, even the ones I do have, they're not installed on my PlayStation, and my PS4 is already struggling to cope with what's on it. I'm very low on room. I'm not deleting something that I might actually enjoy just for the sake of a one match on whatever Call of Duties I've picked. You probably assumed what the three are already. Without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to go newest first. We're going to go that order. We're going to go backwards, I think. Backwards? Yeah, backwards. So we're going to go newest first and then work our way up. You can probably assume what the first one's going to be. And while we're here, special mention, it's not in this, it's not in the three, and it's not going to be considered as one of the worst, but Black Ops 3's campaign deserves a mention in this because it's fucking awful and probably the worst campaign ever. That game generally was quite good for what it was. It was as good as a futuristic COD could be for me, but the campaign was honestly so trash. I still don't really understand what they were doing with it, and I feel like it deserves a mention when discussing worst Call of Duty games because I actually feel like it is probably the worst campaign we've had on a Call of Duty game. Anyway, moving on. I'm sure there's a massive gasp from you that you're seeing Infinite Warfare in the background, isn't there? Yeah, I'm shocked. Why would that be here? That doesn't deserve to be here, does it? Now, obviously, Infinite Warfare. How does one put it in a nice way? Infinite Warfare came at a bad time. Let's be fair. Let's say it that way. Literally, no one really wanted it. So from day one, it was screwed. It's still incredibly disliked bombs. Like over 3.6 million now. It just came at a bad time, really. It's not. It might even be an alright game. It's just literally for what Call of Duty is. It's not Call of Duty. It feels very much like it's not a Call of Duty. As you're saying here, this is the reveal trailer. You're going to space in a minute. So it's very much not Call of Duty. The fucking exo jumping bollocks was still there, and people were at a point now where it was completely done. People were fed up with it. People didn't want it. Black Ops 3 did it and got it the best it could be. Drop it now. It's not that brilliant. That was sort of the ideology of the Call of Duty community at this point. And we go and get another game that's literally, in many ways, it was tried to copy Black Ops 3 in many ways, and it got it spectacularly wrong in a lot of ways. We're gonna. Well, my chair sounds worse every day. In fairness, it got one thing right, and it was a very good campaign. If you haven't played the campaign, I would actually recommend trying the campaign. It's a very good story. The characters are well developed. It's fun to play. So yeah, if you haven't played the campaign, give it credit where it's due. It is a good campaign. And as I said earlier, Black Ops 3 was probably the worst campaign for that. It was miles better than that. But ultimately, everything else about this game sucked ass. No one wanted it. Majority of people that bought it probably bought it because they wanted COD 4. I know I did. I played 2 matches of the multiplayer before getting a bit fed up with it. I played a bit more of it in the beta, and I didn't like it then that much either. Based on general consensus, people wasn't particularly raving about the multiplayer, so I didn't know if I don't particularly think it was me just being harsh on it. It had zombies as well, which was supposedly alright, but it's just not Treyarch, and I've said before I want to do a video about sort of the future of zombies, not outside of Treyarch games, because I feel like it's worth talking about. So I didn't play much of that. It looked alright. As for, like I say, this multiplayer trailer now you're seeing, and just looking back at it, it screams attempt at copying Black Ops 3, with all the specialists and things like that. It just didn't really throw anything new to the table. People's play styles were awful, and for many people, I guarantee Infinite Warfare will be the answer they give if they were asked what is the worst Call of Duty game. Let's say that could be simply just bad timing, it not feeling like a Call of Duty game. There's a possibility that if this was just a new video game, shooter game, people might have actually enjoyed it for what it was, because it just wasn't a Call of Duty game. It just didn't feel much like a Call of Duty game, other than the fact that people that played it were absolute cancer. Other than that, yeah, it just didn't feel right. So that's a strong first entry out of our trio of shite games. The next one is not too dissimilar, to be honest. Advanced Warfare, the game that introduced us to the shitty setting and bullshit gameplay mechanics that was exosuits. Again, chair, goddamn. Yeah, this game, it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good for a week. It was kind of like, oh, okay, this could be cool, but then it wasn't. The whole sort of exosuits and things, it got very boring very quickly. The campaign wasn't much. It was very much like, oh look, we got Kevin Spacey, who back then wasn't known to be as much of a wanker as he is now. His career's dead, isn't it? Oh, fucking idiot. Getting sidetracked, I should say. So yeah, the campaign weren't brilliant. The multiplayer was incredible. Spawned to the hatred of just everything for me in terms of the exo movement and the advanced movement or whatever. Pretty much this game, every 5 seconds you'd have someone jumping about or bloody sliding about, and I hate thinking about it, and I didn't like it through Black Ops 3. I didn't like it in the small areas I played Infinite Warfare. Didn't like it in Advanced Warfare. Like I say, it was Sledgehammer's first game as a full developer of it. So can you cut them some slack? I suppose you could. But like I say, the story weren't brilliant. It's not that memorable, if I remember rightly, at the end. Spoilers if you really care. I'm pretty sure the Kevin Spacey character ends up being dropped into a fireball, so that's nice. And other than that, I can't really remember what happens. It didn't feel that good. Multiplayer wasn't brilliant. And we haven't really mentioned in detail the exo zombies, and that was proper trash. That was our first taste of zombies away from Treyarch, and the first map was alright. The map to introduce you to it was alright. That's okay. It brought some new ideas, mainly things we already knew, just in a different way. And other than that, the maps after that, I think there was 2 more or 3 more. 3 more, because the first map came in DLC, I think, if I remember rightly. Weren't much better. Actually, no. What am I saying? They were a lot worse. That's what I meant. They really weren't that good, and it was a poor first effort. And it made everyone look forward to having Treyarch come back round the year later with Black Ops 3. Advanced Warfare very much sold this whole, oh look, Battlefield did it, we can do it, and it wasn't very good, as you can see here. Oh look, a tsunami, oh boy. And like I said, there's in principle all this stuff they're showing off, that they showed off in this trailer. This was the multiplayer trailer. It looked relatively cool, but ultimately it was a bit of shit. I do actually want to show the end of this trailer because I find it quite funny the ways they show certain weapon. Here's that laser gun, which ultimately wasn't very good either. They're making it out, oh look how cool is this, laser guns in Call of Duty, wow. And like I say, for a week it was kind of alright, but that laser gun in particular was pretty trash. And yeah, it had potential, I suppose, but like I say, it deserves to be in the lower echelons of the ranking system for everyone, I would say. I think everyone would put it relatively low. Even people that are a fan of the LXO movement probably would say this is nowhere near Black Ops 3, which is definitely fair enough. But is it the worst? We shall see. We're getting to it now. I love how everyone. You should always remember that kill streak. The laser that goes in a straight line. They're making it look like it's dominating there. It was awful. Anyway, moving on. The final game I want to talk about is this beautiful thing. I'm trying to make sure it was 720p then, because I can't be dealing with anything lower. Call of Duty Ghosts. The only one that isn't exosuit based. The only one that's not set in the far, far, far future. And this game, I can't tell you how much disappointment it's caused me. Overall, it probably was the most disappointing gaming experience I've had. Just to set the scene for you, after playing Modern Warfare 3, I played through that campaign. I could not wait for Infinity Ward to come back round. I liked Black Ops, but at that time, Modern Warfare series blew my mind. And I just could not wait for Infinity Ward to come back round. And I remember finally getting like a teaser, and at first, this is the first bad point for it. It was never going to win. It was called Ghosts, and they teased it like they had that stupid mask with teaser trailer, and they made it quite clear that this was going to be a ghost mask, and everyone obviously Ghost, the character Ghost from Modern Warfare 2. Instantly, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be like a prequel. It wasn't, which was the first disappointment, but I let that slide. I was like, nope, these are the same people that made Call of Duty Modern Warfare Trilogy, and I didn't know at the time that the studio had been ripped apart, so I was a bit naive to that. But this game, it sucked so hard. I really don't. How many dog references have we had in the background already? At least 3 or 4. Why were they selling the dog thing so much? It was so disappointing in every single way for me. The campaign I thought was poor. Didn't really like the characters. It ended on a cliffhanger, which just was like, ugh, why? We have to have more of this. And to be honest, I just hate this multiplayer, and they're still bloody on the dog thing, aren't they? I just hated everything about the campaign. I just could not get into it. I just didn't like the characters. I didn't like the storyline. I didn't like any of it. As for multiplayer, yet again, I didn't enjoy the multiplayer anywhere near as much as I did with Black Ops 2. And you've got to think Black Ops 2 for so many people loved that game. Not only that, you had Modern Warfare 3 before that. And to come to this, after those two games, which were both set, Modern Warfare 2 was set in around a similar time. Black Ops 2 was slightly further in the future, only by about 9 years, so it was relatively close. So this had very similar company, and oh look, we can lean. And it was awful. It just felt so shit. It just didn't feel that playable to me, and this is actually the first game they shot. Like, look, we can blow buildings up, and in reality, it was just this linear. Oh, petrol station's going to fall down. Wow, and it was so underwhelming. This is their new thing. Oh look, a petrol station can fall down. Meanwhile, in Battlefield, I just brought a skyscraper down. Oh, piss off! It wasn't. But yeah, I never got on with this game, and it's always been in my head as just this joke, and I'd like to think it never happened, but it certainly did. Certainly did. Then we had Extinction, which in fairness, at least it wasn't zombies, at least they tried something, but you could tell they were getting to a point where they were getting closer and closer to just having zombies in every game. You'd gone from Spec Ops to survival mode, which survival mode was fine, just because it wasn't as good as zombies didn't mean they should take it out, for fuck's sake. And then Extinction was the next attempt, nowhere near as good as zombies, not as fun as zombies, not as enjoyable. Had a storyline, didn't care for it. Stonehaven in the background there. What an awful map that was. Possibly the worst map ever. This game just stunk of shite. It was so bad, and I'll happily never play it again. However, I'm tempted to play it again. I'm happy to buy it from second-hand place at some point and just try it and see if now I can tolerate it or not. But for me, this game is complete enough trash. I've got nothing more to say about it. Oh, look, the email self is brilliant. Well done, Call of Duty Ghosts, well done. So that for me is the three games in the Call of Duty series that I would consider to be up there for the worst game ever. I've given points why, and you know they're all for it. No matter what I say here, and I'm sure many of us can agree. I know Ghost has some of its fans. I'm not sure about the other two, but I'm sure many of us can agree that these three deserve to be down there. For me, well, might be surprising, I suppose, but for me, it's not either of the two Exosuit ones. It is Call of Duty Ghosts for me. For one, Infinite Warfare. I hate the idea of them making another game in the far future, and I felt like it wasn't Call of Duty, and the multiplayer wasn't that entertaining at all. The campaign was good, and ultimately, I feel harsh judging it badly because I just didn't play it too much, and that was literally due to the setting of it, me being fed up with that sort of setting. Advanced Warfare was pretty bad, but was it all round unplayable? Not really. For a week, I kind of enjoyed it. Other than that, it wasn't brilliant, and it's quite close between that and Ghosts, but I appreciated that at the time they were the first time they developed it, and it wasn't all bad, I suppose. It was quite bad, but it wasn't all bad. For me, Call of Duty Ghosts, just for the anticipation of it, I was really looking forward to it, and for it to just drop like a stone in terms of being good, it just really it was so disappointing to me, and I think I can't ever let that go. So for me, Call of Duty Ghosts is probably the worst Call of Duty game ever. Could quite possibly be the worst one there ever be. I just don't see myself being that disappointed by a video game again. But yeah, that's my views on it. Let me know in the comments below, what is the worst Call of Duty game? Do you agree with me? Is it one of the other two I've mentioned? Is it a different one? That would put a spanner in the works. If it's before Ghosts, I'm like mind boggled as to what you can say. Try and not consider the first three, they're just not the same, are they? But yeah, leave your thoughts if you disagree, if you agree with me, whatever. It's nice to know. I don't care if you don't see eye to eye with me. That's fine. We all have our opinions, don't we? That's how the world works. So yeah, be sure to leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed, if you want more Call of Duty, if you enjoy Call of Duty videos or similar to this, where we discuss topics not just about World War II, but previous Call of Duties, and as well as playing through Call of Duty games. Not just World War II, I'm into COD 4 and Black Ops 3 at the moment, actually, to be fair. I'm in a bit of a COD phase at the moment. So if you enjoy that sort of thing, be sure to subscribe. It would mean a lot. So yeah, ultimately, that's about it. Talk to yourself while recording, Connor. Very clever. Yeah, sorry, I'm blabbering on now. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.